Welcome to today's book review. Today I'm reviewing Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant, a guide to financial freedom. Now, this book review is timely, especially as we embark on a journey to financial freedom. For those of you that don't know, we are embarking on a journey to financial freedom on my programs. That's my YouTube channel, as well as the radio program that I conduct on ZNBC's Radio 4. So all the programs that we are doing now until December are leading us to financial freedom, which is why the Cashflow Quadrant is an extremely important book for those of us that are joining me, or for those of you that are joining me on this journey to financial freedom. It is a book I highly recommend. Let me get it from my bookshop so that you know exactly why I recommend this book as a baseline to financial freedom. Let me get it from my bookshop. This is the book I'm reviewing today. It's the Cashflow Quadrant, a guide to financial freedom, written by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is famously known for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the establishment of the Rich Dad Company, which has published a number of books focused on financial independence and also attaining financial freedom. The Cashflow Quadrant is a particularly interesting book when it comes to understanding our sources of income. Where are we currently, and what we should do to move to quadrants that are going to lead to financial freedom. Robert Kiyosaki begins by debunking the myth of job security. He says that your job limits you in terms of the amount of income that you can make, because you are trading your time for your money. And as a result, there's very little you can do to increase the money that you make from your job. And you don't have control over your job. The ones that have control over your job are your employers. They determine how much you earn in a bonus, whether to increase your salary. You know, many of us have heard of the annual salary increases, right? All those are determined by your employers. So you've got very little control over how much you can make from your job. And your job security, though might seem guaranteed, is actually not guaranteed. And so he begins by debunking this myth of job security that many of us are comfortable in. We feel like if we are working at a big corporate, or we've got a nice secure job, then that is all we need until we retire. But in fact, Robert Kiyosaki introduces us to a different kind of mindset. Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of financial independence instead of job security. He talks about financial independence as you having the ability to ensure that your income, that is your passive income, surpasses your expenses. The point at which your passive income exceeds your current expenses indicates that you are gaining financial independence, or you've gained financial independence. And therefore, Kiyosaki encourages all of us to pursue the path of financial independence, where we look at alternatives or ways of earning money, so passive income, which is income that you earn without relying on a job or anything. That is just income that is being made even when you don't have to do anything. It is money working for you. So when you get to the day where you are able to earn passive income that exceeds your expenses, then we can refer you as being financially independent. I cannot wait for that day when my income is going to exceed my expenses, my passive income. I'll just be lying somewhere and I will be earning money without having to do anything. When you get to that point, then you become financially independent. And that is what Robert Kiyosaki is encouraging all of us to do in this book, Cashflow Quadrant. And so it begins by debunking the myth of job security that many of us think we have, and challenges us to pursue financial independence instead. And he also introduces us to the 4 quadrants. Now, the 4 quadrants are mindsets, and they are mindsets and also characteristics of individuals. We all fall under each one of these 4 quadrants. And it describes how people in these quadrants think. And he also goes into the details of telling us what actions we need to take in order for us to move from one quadrant to the other. So the 4 quadrants are employee, self-employed, that's on the left side. And then we have the business owner and investor on the right side. Now, if you look at the left side, which is the employee and self-employed, Robert Kiyosaki says that these two trade their time for money. And especially if you look at the employee, I've already spoken about the employee not having much control over their time and their salary, because these are controlled by the employer, right? Same applies to the self-employed. A self-employed could be an accountant like myself that does client work or accounting work for clients, or a lawyer or a doctor that is required to do work for clients. Those can be referred to as self-employed. The limitation of being self-employed, though you have some control over how much you can charge for your time, you still have very limited control over growing your revenue. And I can talk from personal experience. The ability for you to scale as a self-employed person is very limited to you, because you are the one doing the work, and your clients want to see you do that work and not your employees. And so even for a self-employed person, you are trading your time for money. And though you've got a little bit more control over how much you charge compared to the employee, you are actually also in the same bracket, which is why Robert Kiyosaki classifies you as on the left side of the cash flow quadrant. And if you are operating from the left side of the cash flow quadrant, you are working so hard for very little money, and we don't expect you to become financially independent, because your focus when you're on the left side is on income, generating income, and most likely spending it. But if you look at the right side of the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki introduces us to the business owners and the investors. Those are found on the right side of the quadrant. If you look at the business owners, Robert Kiyosaki is talking about these big businesses that have established systems that are scalable, such that a business can operate on its own without the owner being around. If you own a business, like some of us do, you only know that it's a business when you've established systems and processes whereby you can take a vacation and leave the business, and it's still going to operate without you being there, and it's still going to make you money. When you reach that point where your business is able to operate without your presence, then you know you've created a sustainable growing business, one that is going to give you passive income, such that you are not trading your time for your money. And as a self-employed person, that is what you need to be focusing on. How do you create systems and processes so that you are able to, your business is able to survive or thrive without you being the core or the center for it to, give you the revenue or the income that you need. The investors quadrant, which is the quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki encourages us all to be. Investors have spent their money or invested their money in assets, income generating assets, that is stocks and dividend paying shares, property, and these assets give them revenue even when they are sleeping. Think about investing in government bonds. All these investments are where the investors spend their money, such that when they invest the money in these assets, they are able to make passive income. They don't even have to spend, they don't do anything. All they do is invest the money in these income generating assets, and then they lay back and wait for the money to grow, and they are getting returns and enjoying their lives. The day you are able to move from an employee to self-employed to the business owner with well-established systems, and finally start investing in assets that generate income, then we call you a financially independent person. At that point, your passive income exceeds your day-to-day expenses. Now, in order for you to move from the left side of the cash flow quadrant to the right side, especially as you're on this journey to financial freedom, there are 3 things that you need to do. The first one is you need to shift your mindset. The second one is you need to acquire new skills. The third one is you need to establish certain habits that are going to enable you to embrace this journey of financial freedom. Let us look at these 3 things that you need to embrace. The first one is shifting your mindset. As an employee or self-employed person, you need to change your mindset from trading your time for money to establishing systems and processes that are going to allow you to scale. So as an employee, for example, don't just rely on one source of revenue or income. Start looking at alternative sources of income. Look at side hustles. Look at making investments in low risk, investments such as property. Even as you are still employed, start seeking out ways in which to utilize your skill. Even in your current job, what are you good at? How can you utilize that skill to service more people other than just the company that you're servicing? Look at your job as just one client, and how can you expand that clientele to many more clients? That's how you start shifting your mindset from an employee to a business. Same applies to the self-employed. What kind of systems and processes do you need to establish in your business so that in the next few months, in the next few years, I hope I can do that for my business as a self-employed, in the next few months, in the next few years, how can I have systems and processes that are going to allow me to not be the key focal point of my business, but rather allow my business to stand on its own and be sustainable, so that it's able to make passive income for me, and I don't have to be within the business for the business to make money. And I know this is a big challenge, especially for developing economies like Zambia, where we've got very limited human resource to help us establish these systems and processes. But now the world is a global village. If you are limited in terms of local resources, consider outsourcing some of the things that you do. For me, I write blogs, I do videos like this, I do training workshops. I'm looking at bringing in or outsourcing some of my work even to young people in Malaysia that can help me develop a trading program if I can't find the capacity within Zambia. I'm looking at a person from India who can help me to do this editing of videos that takes a considerable amount of time. And so, not to undermine the skills that we have within the country, but now we have an opportunity to explore the entire world when it comes to establishing systems and processes that are scalable in order for our businesses to survive. So don't just look at the limitations, look at the opportunities that are available not just within your location, but globally as well. And for me, in terms of creating sustainable systems and processes, my outlook is not just within, by the way. My focus is global. Where can I find the capacities and skills that will allow my business to stand on its own? Because I understand the critical importance of establishing systems and processes that will allow my business to thrive without me being the core or the center of my business. And so I am not going to be limited by by limitations in our local economy. I'm looking at other opportunities, not just within, but also across the globe. And as a self-employed person, this is how you need to start looking at your business. As an employee, start looking at ways in which you can increase your income, and start little by little in terms of taking on extra work. Look at your current employer as just one client and start exploring or finding more clients, so that there will be a time when you can actually say goodbye to your current employers, and by that time you'll have a bigger clientele base for you to establish yourself and start moving from the left side of the cash flow quadrant to the right side. So this is the kind of mindset that you need to develop as a self-employed and an employee. In order for you to acquire the relevant skills that you need to make sure that you are educating yourself financially. This is what Robert Kiyosaki encourages. So this platform is a good platform for you to start learning about financial freedom, financial independence, establishing good systems for your business. I've done so many programs on creating sustainable systems for a business. and also just running a profitable business. So you can take a look at the number of videos that I've produced. I also go into the detail. I don't just look at creating sustainable systems. I also look at the compliance side in terms of tax, looking at tax efficient ways of managing your business and ensuring that you're compliant with the government, because tax is a very critical component of managing a business. And also when you're earning income, also even as an individual, it's important to understand the tax repercussions of your investments. And so the skills that you need to educate yourself in terms of financial education, gain all the knowledge that you need to become financially aware. And why it's important is because you are venturing into a field or a world of finance, and finance has got its own language. It's got, terms and terminologies that you need to be aware of. And so as you embark on a journey to financial freedom, you need to start understanding the language of finance, the language of business, the language of financial independence. There are terms like return on investments that we talk about. We are talking about yields when it comes to investing in the government bonds, and so many other terms. So start educating yourself in that line. And secondly, always network. Go to networking events, go out, attend workshops, meet new people. Because like I always say, you see, for me, networking is very instrumental because I believe in the power of your networks. I believe that one person can change the course of your entire life. Just one person. Now imagine what 3 or 4 or 5 people can do for you if you meet the right people. And so as you embark on this journey of financial freedom, as you're trying to move from the left quadrant to the right, consider the strength of your network. Your network is your net worth, and that is extremely true. The final step that you need to take for the business owner, you need to thinking about creating systems and processes. I've gone into the detail in terms of what that is. Now, if you want to be an investor, you need to start, creating systems in terms of how you set aside money, savings, okay? And after you've reserved money, set aside money in terms of savings, you also need to ensure that you automatically allocate your money to different investment portfolios or different investment vehicles, and monitor those investments. Don't just invest and then think that because it's passive income, it's going to be making itself. Even if it's passive income, you still need to monitor that income. So when you are able to develop these skills and mindsets, we truly expect you to start moving from the employee and self-employed left side of the cash flow quadrant to the right side of the cash flow quadrant, where you become a business owner and an investor. And that is the side where you gain true financial independence, because at that point your passive income is going to start exceeding your expenses. In the last chapter of the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki talks about taking advantage of your disappointments. He says that disappointments can open new doors to new opportunities. And as a result, you need to have a mindset that embraces failure and focus on the lessons that you are learning from failing. Don't be afraid to take risks, but rather consider the risks of failure as lessons on this journey that you are embarking on. And it's a very, it's a very encouraging way to end a book, right? I mean, having spoken about the limitations of your job security, and then taking you through, the different kinds of ways people make money, the 4 cash flow quadrants, and then telling you how you can move from one quadrant, which is not, focused on ensuring your financial independence, to the cash flow quadrant, the right side, which allows you to gain financial independence, and finally ending with, encouraging you to learn from the lessons. You are going to fail, but take those disappointments as opportunities to embrace new things on your journey to financial freedom. Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant is definitely a book I recommend. And as I said at the beginning, for those of us that are embarking on this journey to financial freedom, it's a book that is a baseline. It is going to explain to you far better than any person can in the world. I am confident of this. what financial freedom really is and how you can get started. And so I encourage all of you today to pick up the Cashflow Quadrant and start reading it today. I picked up mine in a bookshop in Zambia, and I believe you can also find one anywhere in the world. Now, if you enjoyed today's book review, I would love to hear your feedback. Have you ever read the Cashflow Quadrant? What are your views about this book? How did it change your journey to financial independence or financial freedom? Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section below. Before I end, I would like to thank my subscribers, those that are subscribing. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, goodness me, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to my channel today by clicking the subscribe button. It is at the top, it is up here. Click subscribe today. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.